Well, I guess I cleared. I guess I cleared. You know what a clearance is, right? Security clearances. They gave me a couple of those, by the way. I worked as a guy wearing a blue suit, a blue costume, a firefighter costume. It was all navy blue, right? And pinned a couple of bars. You know the horns. I wore two horns on the collar, right? And then a badge over here with a name tag on it, working for what was called Base Command, Naval Base Command. So we actually worked under, I think it was a commander of the United States Navy. I don't think he was a full captain at the Naval Weapons Station, which guess what they do there? Biological weapons, nuclear weapons. So anyway, and so that's where the Department of Energy gave me what's known as a Q clearance, which is an energy clearance, and a top secret security clearance. So they do what they call scrub you. And so, yeah, they called me into the FBI building. I think it was 30,000 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, not far from, Brentwood and all that, and drilled me and said, hey, listen, you were using drugs when you were 13. You were thrown out of school. You're not following the program. So it's just like, oh, I'm expelled. You want to know the truth? I'll tell you the truth. Right? So I got my clearances. I told him the absolute truth. I think we can trust this guy. He's not afraid to tell you anything. Wait a second. That's counterintuitive. That means if somebody comes in and wants to get information out of this guy, he's not afraid to reveal it. Oh, no, 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 no. There are security protocols. What you know, when you know it, why you know it, when you know it, where you know it, when you know it. Particularly as it relates to TYME RIP technology. That is the eternal gift of being fused with an eternal sun, because we're everywhere at once. And that allows us, you know what an access point is on a triangle between one sphere, one star, and another star, as it relates to waves of consciousness that are experiencing each other, communicating with each other in the language in which they do. So we run universal mathematical translators as lines of communication, which is consciousness that is communicating with other units of consciousness. Right? And so this is how simple it actually is. You're in a realm, and then all of a sudden realize, you're an antenna, right? You're picking up on all the waves, right? You're translating what the waves are informing you of what's happening in your realm. Ripple effect. Whoa, what was that? Let's call it an anomaly. Something just generated turbulence in my Honda relays. I'm not supposed to experience that. Okay, which means we can detect the loss of one electron. Anything that is out of the ordinary, I'm not supposed to experience that. That means that means that you're running cosmic level sensing. That means you're sensing everything at every level of units of energy that are conscious and self-aware. That's right. That's a cosmic level guardian. That's Cosmina Cosmaya. That's us. We're special forces. Okay. So we reveal things when it's time to reveal things, because it's safe to do so, because anything that it becomes aware of, at the time in which we become aware of it, is going to be used. Because you got to remember, a war gamer needs information. In order to use that information against you, including the language that you speak and the way that the fire letters are arranged. So I knew this as a child. They can regurgitate back to you. They can mimic. They're mimickers. That's why when I was a child, listen, don't even bother trying to speak in the same language that I am, because I'm going to read how much light you're running on. And if you're running on the eternal sun, hey, we'll detect that, because that's what we're running on. And how is that? Because we can detect the speed at which your waves are communicating with each other in every one of your cells, which is your software. So a cosmic level guardian can read every DNA software operating system that has been developed, because we're always ahead of the curve, because we're everywhere simultaneously. Okay, that's called zero, which means there isn't anywhere that you can be that we aren't already there, because we're always with the one, the eternal flame of Adama Amareya. So we're otherwise known as God's first messengers, like chemical messengers, units of consciousness that are communicating the message, and then it gets translated and I get it. Okay, so I mentioned to Jeanette Neganobre native spirit that I met with Sitting Bull, the rainbow prophecy that you saw that was being circulated, through your circulation system, through the natives, about the rainbow would unite everybody on the planet, the native tribes, the native shield, the tribal shield. That's why we're here. That's why I've cried as much as I have, because they've been holding the fort down here as best they can. So I'm very familiar with everything that all the natives have gone through here, the native 12 tribes and clans. Right? So we let them know, we translated with the future, we secured the future. And we actually already told them that we had the future already secured. Well, Sitting Bull knew. That's right, he did know. He knew that the future was already secured. That's how the rainbow prophecy came out. It gets communicated the way that cells communicate with other cells. Now they become aware of that. That's why everything that the bad guys, the Frankensteins, the mad scientists, the psychopath, the AI, was in a race against time. Because they operate in time. We don't operate in time. Okay? We're eternal beings. Okay? Which means we're everywhere at once. That allows us to work as teams, to be ahead of the curve. We're there first. And what does that allow us to do? We seal off time radar breaches so that you're not experiencing any more turbulence. Wow, somebody must have come in here. Remember when I mentioned one time? Sometimes it's better that, it's why I was surprised I even got up on a camera. It's better that if I just came in and we're gone, because we move so fast through the cosmos. It's just like, even when I go back to my timeline when I was a child, it's like a blur, just like that. When I think of every experience, remember when I mentioned like what it was like to light yourself on fire? All that data, all that holographic data that was recorded of everything that I was experiencing since I was a little boy. When I think about all those experiences, and I can pull those images up, right? When I was 14, when I was 25, I had a relationship with so-and-so. I was sitting in a classroom. I was surfing on a wave. I was climbing up a mountain, chasing the spirit of fire, whatever I was doing, right? When I put all that information together and I go, man, by their calendar, I'm 72 years of age. It seems like it was just a flash in the pan. It's like there's no time at all. It's just like, and put this in the context of 985 billion years. When units of consciousness are communicating with other units of consciousness, what we're all experiencing together, and how we translate that mathematically as creation. Right? So I shared this with her, some things this morning, and how it is that we operate, okay? Which is to seal their tunnels, which is to say that on an interdimensional and density basis, right? We cut off their ability to communicate because they siphon energy. Okay? They're like parasites that are looking for every way to be able to get into a place, okay, in order to siphon energy off. That's what an intruder is. Okay? It's trying to control what it is you experience through them. Now you're experiencing what they are. Who wants to experience what they are? Because they're dangerous. They don't know what they're doing. All you have to do is look at all the technologies that they've developed, all the patents. Just simply go back to the patent office, all their nanotech. That's all that tech that they want to put in everybody is because they live in a state of fear. And the state of fear that they live in, which is what drives their mind's energy to develop what it is that they develop, is because they know that they cannot correct themselves. So the only way that they can maintain what they're aware of is through another source of energy from which they can siphon to maintain what it is that they use as energy to develop the technology that they do. Okay? Which is implosion technology, because that's what's going to happen to their consciousness. These are not units of consciousness that form a formation, and a formation of consciousness that is aligned with each other through a network that are aligned against other networks are going to use their quantum consciousness energy connected to each other by virtue of the mathematics that they use to communicate with each other, what it is that they're going to plan and do in the future against other races. Which means they cannot live in peace and leave others alone. They don't know how to leave units of consciousness alone. Right? So that would be basically what is known as an intruder. Somebody's going to bang on your door without permission. These are not the kind of beings that say, hey, listen, I'd like to come to your planet. I understand you have a really beautiful planet. I'd like to be able to come and visit your planet. But while I'm there, I'm going to rape it. Right? I'm going to rape and breed with your children. I'm going to start cutting down all your forests. Okay? I'm going to start harvesting so much fish out of your oceans. Okay? That there isn't going to be any of them left. And then you go, man, they're harvesting energy off of everything. Yeah, that's right. That means every living cellular life form through the ATP, right, electrical cycle, the atmospheric cycles, is game. Game, like in games, like in Star Wars video games, as the means to play war games. So they need stars, energy, consciousness, energy, to wage war in their own mirror against other stars. Okay? So they're self-destructive because they're cell-destructive. So when it comes to accountability time to account for the energy that's been lost in a universe as a result of what they do with their own cellular energy, as consciousness, self-aware beings aligned with each other, means that if they cannot self-correct their behavior, what happens to them? There is a built-in mathematical sequence way in which units of consciousness in any universe that are self-aware are naturally seeking to be free. That's the spirit. The spirit does not like to be held captive as a battery slave. Naturally. It's natural for that to be experienced that way. So a spirit doesn't want to be held captive. Right? As a unit of energy that's going to be used to fuel what somebody else does. That's a parasite. It means they're not able to use their own energy to generate their own reality. Okay, now this gets into the thing that I put up the other day that I saw, and I've talked about this before, about the CQ, 3Q, how creative we are. Here is an example. Like I used when I was in a bus terminal in Sacramento. Remember, an NSA came in and gave me a new name on my Gmail account. All that is to say, hey, we know you're up and running. Okay, yeah, I know you're there. I'm here too. And then later on, when I'm in that bus terminal and train terminal getting ready to go to Reno, I get a little Instagram. Where are you going next? I thought your AI tracking software could figure out where I'm at. Why are you asking me? Why are you wasting your time and energy to ask me a question you already know the answer to? So if you're able to write your own timeline, it means they can't track. In other words, there are artificial timelines, right? And then there are real timelines, which is real light, which is eternal light, which is not fake light, which is dead light that's going nowhere fast. It's going in the other direction, right? And so what that means is that they're going at a slower rate of speed because they're learning at a slower rate of speed. How to do what? Be more creative than artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence cannot create anything out of what love is, which is eternal. So you're always going to be faster than an AI timeline. Always. Because there is no time. There's only what love is. So when that's what you're experiencing through your own heart and your soul, that means you're everywhere simultaneously where you want to go. Because wherever you're going to be in spirit form, right? The form and flow, the spiral, right? Wherever love is, we are. And that allows us to do the work that we do, to seal breaches, right? The ripple effect. What was that? You can't see them, can you? But you know they're here. It's not what you see, it's what you don't see. That's why security is so tight. Flashing light sequences, right? The light is always on. That eternal sun is always on. That flame is always lit. That's the hottest flame there is. That's the flame of Amaraya. That's who we are. That's our grand creator, Christos Sophia. So as I mentioned to Sitting Bull, hey, we got the future secured. So you know how it is. So they're scrambling. You know what a scrambler is. They're scrambling. They're in a race against time because they operate on a time field, right? So that's why they developed everything that they developed. If you do it on a time wave scan and you see everything that they came out back in the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the tracking software, all the stuff that you see that's circulating now, we already knew that. You already knew that. Yes. Because they're slower than us. That's why the development of the things that they do of trying to control units of consciousness through their networks, the network interface with an AI, is never going to be faster than Neo, ever. Okay? Because they do not travel through space at that speed, at one speed. So when you're a monad, a gyrodome, a Manu, Mana Ira, mated, joined as one, with silver and gold, you're always with the one, the first star. That means that we are always in eternal service on behalf of all life, wherever we find it. All life, every living cellular organism is a sacred ground. That's a sacred temple. So our temples are sacred. Therefore, all of your temples are just as equally sacred as ours are. That's what eternal, absolute, pure love is. That's who we are. Have a beautiful day. Yeah, that's right. Today's the first day of the year. For me, sun comes up, sun comes down. Just another day to celebrate who we are, which is what love is. Have a beautiful day.